In the opening of Episode 1 of Jack of All Trades, Party of None, we are introduced to the protagonist, Orun, a former member of a legendary heroes party. The series immediately establishes the central conflict of Orun's story. Despite once being part of a famous group of explorers who reached incredible depths of the Great Labyrinth, he has now been cast aside. The reason for this is tied directly to his unusual fighting style and abilities. Orun is known as what adventurers call a jack of all trades. He can use swords, magic, and support techniques, but he does not excel in any single category. In a world where dungeon exploration relies heavily on specialized roles, attackers, defenders, and supporters, this versatility is often seen as a weakness. His former companions, who once relied on him, eventually concluded that his support magic was inferior compared to a dedicated enchanter they encountered during a joint expedition. After seeing the difference in power between Orun and a true specialist, the party decided to replace him. The scene where he is dismissed is harsh. His teammates bluntly explain that while he can do many things, he does none of them exceptionally well. One of them even calls him Kyo Binbo, which roughly translates to someone who is talented but ultimately mediocre at everything. In other words, he's a jack of all trades but master of none. With that, the hero's party casts him out, leaving him to wander on his own. Not long after, we see Orun in a tavern reflecting on what happened. The pain of being abandoned by his party still lingers, but he tries to move forward. While sitting there, he overhears a heated argument between a group of adventurers. They are talking about an incident in the labyrinth where a young girl was left behind when their party encountered an overwhelming number of monsters. According to them, there was nothing they could do. The enemy forces were simply too large, and staying would have meant certain death. However, Orun is clearly angered by this explanation. Having experienced the pain of being abandoned himself, he cannot stand listening to people casually justify leaving someone behind. When the men insist that rescuing the girl would have been impossible, Orun challenges them directly. If they truly believe that nothing could be done, then they should at least show him where she was left. After some reluctance, they reveal the location within the labyrinth. Without hesitation, Orun heads out on his own to investigate. The story then shifts to the labyrinth itself. Deep inside one of the dungeon floors, the girl in question is still alive, but she is surrounded by monsters. The creatures are closing in from all sides, and she is clearly overwhelmed. Terrified and desperate, she calls out for help, realizing that escape may be impossible. Just as the monsters are about to attack, a mysterious figure suddenly appears. It's Orun. What follows is the first major action sequence of the episode, and it quickly demonstrates that Orun's abilities are far more impressive than his former party believed.
The rookies quickly realize that something unusual is happening. Thanks to the hidden debuff, Caroline is able to control the monster's movements, while Sophia lands another precise magical attack. The creature collapses soon afterward, leaving the team victorious once again. For Logan, the battle becomes a turning point. Watching Orun calmly coordinate the fight makes him realize how much strategy and foresight are required to guide a party effectively. Compared to Orun's ability to read the flow of battle, Logan understands that he still has a long way to go as a support mage. But rather than discouraging him, the realization only strengthens his resolve to improve. As the expedition continues, Orun gathers the rookies and speaks to them with unusual sincerity. He tells them that although he is no longer part of the hero's party, he still intends to fulfill his responsibility as an explorer. His goal is simple: to guide every member of this expedition safely to the 51st floor. Even if the world no longer considers him a hero, he refuses to abandon the people who are relying on him now. Hearing these words, the rookies respond with renewed determination. Together, the members of the 10th unit prepare to face the challenges waiting deeper within the labyrinth, where every new floor tests both courage and coordination. Orun begins by explaining the plan for the next phase of exploration. The group will be traveling from the 21st floor all the way to the 35th, but until they reach the middle layers, the rookies will move ahead just like the day before. He reassures them that he will protect everyone if things go wrong, but he still wants them to face the dungeon with full effort. His calm confidence encourages the team, even though some members still feel uncertain about the former hero party member leading them. As the explorers advance deeper into the dungeon, tension slowly begins to rise. The air grows heavier, the corridors darker, and every sound echoes through the stone passages. Eventually, the group reaches the 31st floor, the point where Orun finally takes direct command of the formation. Sensing monsters nearby, he immediately begins issuing precise instructions. Caroline moves to the front to draw the goblin's attention, acting as the defender and keeping the enemies focused on her. Behind her, the rest of the party prepares their attacks while carefully following Orun's orders. The formation is simple but effective, allowing each member to perform their role without interfering with the others. As the goblins charge forward, the battle begins in earnest. Caroline skillfully evades their attacks, pulling them away from the weaker members of the group while maintaining control of the battlefield. Orun watches carefully, analyzing every movement while planning the next step several seconds ahead. When the timing is right, he orders Logan to strengthen the party with enhancement magic. Multiple buffs are cast in quick succession, increasing speed, durability, and magical efficiency across the team. With these improvements in place, the party's attacks become far more effective. Sophia begins preparing her magic in the rear, focusing her energy while waiting for the moment Orun signals her to strike. The teamwork begins to fall into place, each member trusting the commands given by their strategist. Even when problems arise, Orun adapts immediately. Logan can only maintain 3 spells simultaneously, forcing the group to adjust their strategy on the fly.
Rather than panicking, Orun calmly shifts priorities, ordering a sharpening enchantment to improve their damage output. The quick decision allows the team to escape a dangerous situation and regain control of the fight. Encouraged by the success, the party continues deeper into the labyrinth while maintaining their disciplined formation. However, the true test of their coordination soon appears. A massive monster emerges before them, the terrifying Death Tarantula that inhabits the deeper layers of the dungeon. The sight alone is enough to shake the confidence of the inexperienced adventurers. Some immediately realize that a monster like this should be far beyond their current abilities. Yet Orun remains completely composed. Without hesitation, he begins issuing rapid commands to the party. Logan is ordered to increase Caroline's agility and durability, ensuring she can survive the creature's attacks. At the same time, Orun secretly casts a debuff to weaken the monster's movements, lowering its agility without the others even realizing it. This subtle magic changes the entire flow of battle. Suddenly, the monster's movements become slightly slower, creating openings that did not exist before. Caroline takes advantage of the change, successfully holding the monster's attention while dodging its deadly strikes. Meanwhile, Sophia prepares a powerful spell in the background, gathering energy while the others keep the creature distracted. The formation begins working exactly as Orun intended. The defender keeps the enemy occupied, the supporters maintain their buffs, and the attacker prepares the finishing blow. Watching this unfold, one of the rookies begins to understand the truth about Orun. At first, he had been disappointed when he learned Orun was expelled from the heroes' party. It felt like the legendary strategist had betrayed everyone's expectations. But during the earlier battle with the orcs, he realized something important. Orun had secretly used an advanced debuff spell, Agility Down, a technique so difficult that even renowned mages rarely rely on it. Yet Orun had cast it effortlessly, controlling the battlefield in ways most adventurers would never notice. Remembering that moment, the rookie finally understands the difference between them. Orun isn't simply a jack of all trades. His ability to use every role allows him to see the battlefield from every perspective at once, and that very versatility is what makes him such a powerful strategist in the labyrinth. As the Death Tarantula battle reaches its climax, the party's formation holds strong. With the defender drawing the monster's attention, the others calmly prepare their next attacks without panic. For the first time, the rookies truly grasp the importance of teamwork and proper positioning in a real dungeon battle. Under Orun's leadership, even inexperienced adventurers can stand against monsters that once seemed impossible to defeat.
Instead of relying on just one fighting style, he seamlessly combines multiple techniques. He enhances his physical strength with support magic, boosts his combat precision, and then switches between swordplay and magical attacks depending on the situation. The monsters are numerous, far more than a normal adventurer would attempt to fight alone. Even high-ranking parties would usually retreat from a group this large. But Orun calmly assesses the battlefield and decides to handle it himself. Using a series of enhancement spells, he increases his strength and technical ability, then charges directly into the enemy horde. His fighting style is fluid and unpredictable. One moment he is cutting through enemies with his sword, and the next he is casting magic to control the battlefield. The girl watching from a distance is completely stunned. She has never seen someone fight like this before. Most adventurers rely on clearly defined roles, but Orun moves effortlessly between them, almost as if he is filling every role in a party by himself. Despite the overwhelming numbers, he steadily defeats the monsters one by one. Within minutes, the battlefield is cleared. The girl can hardly believe what she has just witnessed. A situation that seemed hopeless only moments ago has been completely resolved by a single person. Orun checks to make sure she is unharmed, and, satisfied that she is safe, prepares to leave immediately. To him, rescuing her was simply the right thing to do. But before he can walk away, the girl stops him so she can properly thank him. She introduces herself as Sophia Claudel. Orun quickly recognizes the name and the crest on her cloak. Sophia is a member of a major adventuring clan in the kingdom, one of the most famous organizations among labyrinth explorers. Realizing that she comes from such a powerful group, Orun initially tries to downplay what he did.
However, Sophia insists on showing her gratitude. She asks if she can treat him to dinner as a way of repaying the favor. At first, Orun declines, explaining that he didn't save her for a reward. But Sophia continues to insist, and eventually he agrees. The two leave the labyrinth together and head back to town. During the walk and their later conversation, Sophia's admiration for Orun becomes obvious. She is fascinated by his fighting style and curious about his background. Orun, on the other hand, remains fairly reserved, though he does reveal that he was once part of a hero's party. Eventually, they arrive at a restaurant where Sophia suggests they eat. However, the situation becomes slightly awkward when another person unexpectedly appears, Sophia's older sister. Her sister, Selma Claudel, is not just any adventurer. She is one of the most powerful support mages on the continent and the leader of a top-ranked S-class party known as Silver Knight. When she sees Sophia sitting with a man she doesn't recognize, she immediately becomes suspicious and protective. At first, she assumes that Orun might be trying to take advantage of her younger sister. But Sophia quickly explains the situation and reveals that Orun is actually the person who saved her life inside the labyrinth. Hearing this, Selma's attitude changes almost instantly. Rather than being hostile, she becomes interested. After talking with Orun for a while, Selma begins to recognize something unusual about him. His analytical thinking, his ability to understand combat roles, and the way he talks about support magic suggest that he might be far more capable than he appears at first glance. During their conversation, the topic turns to dungeon exploration strategies. Selma explains that most modern adventuring parties are built around 3 core roles: attackers who deal damage, defenders who protect the group, and supporters who enhance their allies through magic. Orun is already very familiar with this structure, since he was previously converted into a support role while working with the Heroes Party. However, that same experience also led to his dismissal when his support abilities were compared to those of a true specialist. Despite knowing this, Selma tells him something surprising. She says that she values his abilities. From her perspective, someone who can analyze battles and adapt between different roles might actually be extremely valuable in certain situations. She begins explaining the plan her clan is working on involving exploration of deeper labyrinth floors. The plan involves helping inexperienced adventurers progress further into the dungeon by bypassing certain boss fights with the help of stronger veterans. To make this strategy work, they need skilled and flexible adventurers who can assist in unusual circumstances. Selma asks Orun if he would consider joining their upcoming exploration. The request catches him off guard. After being rejected by his former companions, the idea that someone of Selma's status would trust his abilities feels almost unreal. For a moment he hesitates, remembering the humiliation of being removed from the Heroes Party. But Selma speaks confidently, explaining that she believes his versatility is exactly what their expedition needs. She begins describing the purpose of the mission. A large-scale joint exploration is about to begin inside the Great Labyrinth. Veteran adventurers will guide groups of inexperienced explorers through the middle floors of the dungeon, helping them gain experience while avoiding unnecessary risk. Normally, new adventurers would have to fight the powerful floor bosses that guard every 10th level before they can progress deeper. However, if stronger adventurers defeat those bosses first, the newcomers can register their progress and safely advance to the next layer. Selma's clan is organizing this entire operation. To make the plan work, they need skilled veterans who can supervise the rookies and step in if anything goes wrong. That's where Orun comes in. Even though he was once labeled a jack of all trades, Selma believes his flexible combat style makes him the perfect candidate for the job. After thinking about it carefully, Orun finally accepts the offer. Selma immediately explains the compensation for the mission.
He will be paid 2 gold coins per day, with a larger bonus if the expedition succeeds. The amount is generous, enough to support someone for months. To Orun, however, the money matters less than the opportunity to prove his worth. The next morning, Orun arrives at the meeting point for the expedition. Dozens of adventurers have gathered, including several nervous rookies preparing for their first serious labyrinth exploration. Among them is Sophia, who greets Orun enthusiastically. The young mage clearly admires him after the rescue in the dungeon. Before the expedition begins, Selma gathers everyone together and explains the goal of the mission. Their objective is to guide the rookies toward the 51st floor of the labyrinth. Hearing that number makes many of the new adventurers freeze with anxiety. The middle floors are dangerous territory, far deeper than most of them have ever traveled. Selma reassures them that they won't be alone. Experienced explorers will accompany them, ensuring that the expedition runs smoothly. She also introduces Orun to the group, explaining that he once belonged to the legendary Heroes Party and has extensive knowledge of the labyrinth's deeper levels. The revelation immediately draws attention from the rookies. Some of them stare at Orun with admiration, while others whisper among themselves, clearly surprised to see someone of his reputation participating in the mission. Once the briefing ends, the adventurers split into smaller groups. Orun is assigned to supervise one of the rookie teams known as the 10th Unit. The group consists of 3 young adventurers who are still learning how to fight together effectively. The first member is Logan Hayward, an ambitious support mage who confidently declares that he plans to surpass Selma one day. Next is Caroline Ingrot, a defender who uses a very unusual fighting style. Instead of heavy armor and shields like most defenders, she relies on speed and agility to avoid attacks. Finally, there is Sophia, the light attribute attack mage who Orun rescued earlier. After introductions are finished, Orun begins observing the group carefully. From the very beginning, he notices several problems with their teamwork. Logan is confident in his abilities, but lacks practical experience in coordinating with others.
Carolyn is energetic and fearless, but she tends to rush directly toward monsters without thinking about the risks. Sophia has impressive magical potential, but she often hesitates in combat due to lack of confidence. Despite these flaws, Orun can see that the group has potential. If they learn to cooperate properly, they could become a strong team. Soon after, the joint expedition finally begins. As the adventurers enter the labyrinth, the mood shifts instantly. The rookies who are excited outside the dungeon grow noticeably quieter. The dark stone corridors and distant echoes of monsters remind them that this is no training exercise. Real danger lurks in every direction. While walking through the maze-like passages, Sophia begins asking Orun questions about his past. She seems genuinely curious about why he left the Heroes Party. Orun brushes the topic aside at first, clearly uncomfortable discussing it. To most adventurers, being part of the Heroes Party is the ultimate dream, so many people cannot understand why someone would leave such a prestigious group. Eventually, the conversation moves on as the expedition continues deeper into the labyrinth. Before long, the rookies encounter their first serious battle. A group of monsters appears in the corridor ahead, forcing the 10th unit to prepare for combat. Orun does not immediately step in. Instead, he allows the rookies to take the lead while quietly observing their performance. Logan begins casting enhancement magic, strengthening his teammates with agility and technical boosts. Carolyn rushes forward to attract the monsters' attention, using her speed to dodge their attacks. Meanwhile, Sophia prepares a powerful spell from the backline. At first, the battle goes according to plan, but when a larger creature suddenly appears, the rookies begin to panic. Their formation breaks down and their coordination starts to fall apart. This is when Orun finally steps in. Rather than taking over the fight himself, he calmly begins giving precise instructions. He tells Caroline where to position herself to keep the enemy's attention focused on her. He reminds Logan to maintain the enhancement spells on the entire party, and he encourages Sophia to trust her abilities and unleash her magic at the right moment. Under Orun's guidance, the rookies slowly regain control of the situation. Sophia gathers her current and releases a powerful spell, blasting the monster with a burst of light magic. The attack lands perfectly and the creature collapses soon after. For the rookies, it's a huge victory. After the battle ends, they celebrate excitedly while Orun quietly evaluates their performance. The fight confirms his earlier impressions. Each member has talent, but they still lack the experience needed to function as a true team.
Later that day, Orun reflects on the strengths and weaknesses of the group. Caroline's speed makes her an excellent evasive defender, but her reckless charges could easily get her killed. Logan has solid support abilities, though he can only maintain a limited number of spells at once, and Sophia, despite her nervous personality, possesses remarkable magical potential.
With proper training, this team could eventually become far stronger. However, the expedition isn't without complications. During their time in town, a newspaper article reveals the truth about Orun's departure from the heroes' party. The story spreads quickly among adventurers, exposing the fact that he was replaced by another support mage. Although Orun tries to ignore the gossip, the news reminds him of the painful circumstances surrounding his dismissal. He can only hope that the rookies he's guiding won't lose faith in him after hearing the rumors. Despite these concerns, the expedition continues. As the days pass, Orun works closely with the 10th unit, helping them refine their teamwork and build confidence. Slowly but surely, the rookies begin to improve. Their movements become more coordinated, and their strategies grow more effective. Through these experiences, Orun also begins to rediscover something he had nearly forgotten: the satisfaction of helping others grow stronger. By the end of the expedition's early stages, it becomes clear that Selma's decision to recruit him was not a mistake. The rookies trust his guidance, and his ability to adapt to any situation proves invaluable inside the unpredictable environment of the labyrinth. For Orun, this mission represents more than just another job. It's a chance to prove that his abilities still have value, even after being cast aside by the heroes' party. Guiding the rookies through the labyrinth may not sound glamorous compared to battling legendary monsters alongside the world's greatest heroes, but for Orun it carries a deeper meaning. If he can lead these inexperienced adventurers safely through the dangers of the dungeon, then perhaps he can finally move forward from the past that continues to haunt him. As the next day of the expedition begins, the members of the 10th unit gather once again near the labyrinth entrance. The atmosphere is calmer than before. After their earlier battles, the rookies are beginning to grow more comfortable with one another. Sophia greets Orun with a cheerful smile, clearly relieved to see him again.